All right, let's do this. Let's talk some NBA Finals. Let's get to it. Miami Heat, they fall to the Denver Nuggets 108-95 as the Denver Nuggets take a death hold on this NBA Finals series. They are up 3-1. Miami has lost both games at home and are now staring elimination right in the face as Game 5 will come up on Monday. The Denver Nuggets are doing that, polishing their monocles, dusting off their top hats, and trying to see if they can raise the Larry O'Brien trophy. And this one hurt. This one hurt today, man. I'm not going to lie. It was painful for the fact that I really thought Miami had their opportunity in this game. They had their window. They had their window in the fourth quarter. They got it to within 5. Jokic is out of the game. Crowd starting to get fired up. But, you just can't, in those situations, you can't give up the basketball. You got to be able to execute with some precision. You got to be able to come through with a big-time shot. And this, I got to say, man, this Jamal Murray, the stones on this guy has been a crowd silencer because – I see a lot of bullshit that's going around there on the Heat crowd right now, and pisses me off for a couple of reasons. One, a lot of these noobs, all these, so-called journalists walking into the building for the first time this year. And, the Miami Heat have basically been trailing since the second quarter of both games the entire time. And these rock fight games where Denver is 2-pointing you to death with just efficient floaters and all that stuff. And you've picked your 2 worst shooting games of the year. You're turning the ball over like crazy. The Miami Heat have not exactly given this home crowd a great showing. And so I would love to know the sports atmosphere because I've heard a lot of let's go Heat chants on the road for all of the winning the Heat have done in this playoffs, which I know has made the median miserable. And I know I'm lashing out. I will get to the game and get into the Heat and their ups too. But I would love to know, am I missing something? Do you go to other places? Because I was watching Denver, I was watching Boston this year. When the team plays poorly, do fans just cheer like out of nowhere? Like the whole time. Not like you try and get a chant going. Even Miami tried that today. Where they, it was like early in the fourth, Miami's not playing good. They start their own let's go Heat chants, and Bam turned the ball over. Now, to his credit, did chase down and have an awesome block on Jamal Murray, but he did turn the ball over. And then Joker picked up his 5th foul. Crowd was going nuts. And the Heat had their best of the run. That crowd was on fire. Yeah, this game was very disappointing. I think for a couple of reasons. That third quarter was again just a killer for Miami. It was the last game and it was this game. They got outscored 31-22. And quite frankly, if it wasn't for Kevin Love, this could have been a 30-point blowout. Like this could have been a 30-point blowout. Thank goodness for Kevin Love out of like nowhere coming up with a couple of threes, and one, blocking Jokic, diving for loose balls. I'm sure he needed an oxygen mask afterwards, but Kevin Love did everything to keep it like, I don't even want to say looking respectable, but he brought everything in that quarter that he could. And to the point where I was like, why did they bring back Kevin Love in the fourth quarter? He was amazing the last time we saw him. But, you can't perform like they did in that one, man. Like they've done this a couple times now where they're just giving up the ball willy-nilly and you're setting the other team up for success. They're going to, this Nuggets team is going to execute. And I got to say, like, to see that performance again in the second half was Pretty disappointing. Pretty disappointing from a team that has always seemed to know when is the time to call, when is the time to get their heads in the game, and they just didn't. They didn't have a response there. It was a tough watch. They almost got it in that fourth quarter, like I was talking about, when they got that run down to 5 points. Jimmy steps to the line, gets it to 86-81, and Jamal Murray, next one, just steps up, hits a big three. And they just never could they never could rally from there. That was the high point of everything. They would just at that point they would like dance around like 7 points. I think they got to like 94-87, and then Jimmy turned it over. Bruce Brown, he took care. They got to like 7, one more point. I think it was like 94-87, and then Jimmy, he turned it over. Bruce Brown, right down the court, he gets a basket. Then Bam missed a bucket right over KCP. There's like 4 minutes left. Then Bam had a great defensive play, locked up Murray. They got a 24-second violation. At this point, I'm thinking, all right, he needed a 3. They needed an and 1, something like that. Duncan Robinson travels. Not great. Then on the other end, Duncan Robinson fouls Bruce Brown. They go up 10. Then Caleb Martin, he misses. I don't even know if it was a 3 or a long 2. He might have done that thing where he puts his toe on line. I think that's what he did. Misses that. So, just very poor execution. And then basically after every Heat miss from there on in, the former Kane, Bruce Brown, killed him. Was taking Duncan off the dribble, was just going right to the rim. Bam had to turn it over right after Bruce Brown scored. Then Bam comes down. He turns it over. Kick to KCP. Psh, dagger. That's all she wrote. So I think I'm disappointed because, even with that awful third quarter, and you had that, again, just a terrible response out of halftime, you get this to a 5-7 point game. Miami's been so good being able to execute, get themselves in a position to win, and instead with this one, they yacked all over themselves, and the execution from Denver was just pristine. And I got to give the Nuggets a lot of credit on that. Like, they kind of have used the Heat formula these last couple of games, and especially this game where we've always expected that role guy hero to step up, whether it be Caleb, whether it be Gabe, whether it be Max Strus. We'll get to those guys, especially Gabe and Max, who were big time no-shows. And you just really didn't get an excelling performance. Like Kyle, Duncan, Caleb, they were all, okay. But nobody like really shined. And in this last 2 games, you've had Christian Brown completely put the game out of reach for Denver. And this one, it was Bruce Brown. So, and really for Miami, they did a great job. I mean, Murray hit that onions 3, but for the most part was inefficient, not a big factor today. And definitely Jokic's worst game of the series. And controversy aside, did get into a lot of foul trouble and put himself in a position where a bad call gave him his 5th foul. And with Jokic just sitting with those cheeks on the bench, you can't take advantage of that and, put pedal to the metal. You're gonna allow Aaron Gordon to light you up. You're gonna allow Bruce Brown to light you up. And that's the tough one. And I don't mean as disrespect to those guys. Those guys are good players, but it's like you have this big burden lifted off of you of Jokic being, you've put so much attention into slowing him down. Now he's not there. This is your time. This is your chance to go even up the NBA Finals. And they couldn't do it. You couldn't do it. So that's the painful thing for me. That's the thing that's going to stick with me in this game is that, as much as I think Denver has responded in such a big way from that game 2 performance where, quite frankly, I was very weirded out by the vibes of Denver seeming so agitated about it. But to their credit, they got a huge star performance in game 3 from Jamal and from Joker. And in this one, it was the others doing it all for them on the road. And you got to give them credit. Now there's 4 straight losses at the Kaseya Center for Miami after not losing up until game 4 of the Eastern Conference Finals. The Heat were very, very good at home. Contrary to popular belief for all these jokers out there, it has actually been a really good atmosphere. And the home team just really hasn't given them much to show for it. They really haven't. So it was a tough one to swallow for sure. Some other stuff that I want to get to from this. Max, Gabe, Max was really busted up. If you guys haven't seen this was on my Twitter account. He had an exchange with Barry Jackson, fantastic reporter for the Miami Herald, just about how downtrodden he is. He's had a really, really bad NBA Finals, and you're talking about a guy. I wouldn't say he's just got a quiet swag to him, Max Strus, just like he carries himself with a bit of an edge, like a lot of these guys do. They've all been told that they aren't good enough, and he's obviously got a big off season coming up where he's a free agent, and I don't know if that's played into it. I don't know. This stuff is hard to say. I think that he's had moments, especially in game 2, where he came in and lit it up, but you just haven't had that same sustained success from Max Strus for a couple of series now, really. And it was tough to hear him like this.
Looks were clean tonight, Max.
Yep.
Just not going in.
Yep.
How tough are you on yourself? I mean, you've been through a lot. You've made a career out of being an underdog. You've had great moments. How tough are you on yourself after these couple of games?
Can you tell?
Looks like it's affecting you.
Yeah, no, I'm pretty disappointed, but sitting here and sulking about it's not going to do anything. Got to toughen up and bounce back. Just look forward to the next opportunity and just try to stay positive.
All right, thank you. Thanks so much. Thanks, Max.
And on the other side of it, the other guy, these guys almost feel like they're always together. Gabe Vincent and Max Strus. Gabe has just had a lot of has had such a hard time. Really, the big thing is staying on the court. I mean, he's been in foul trouble these last couple of games, and really, there's been just fouls. I know he got hosed on a couple the last game, but he just keeps finding himself in these tough positions. To get a bad whistle on him. And yeah, you're getting 2 points from both of those guys combined. They were combined 1 for 10, 0 for 7 from downtown. Tough. They both each had 3 fouls. Gabe was a minus 21 in 19 minutes today. So it was a rough one from your starting backcourt. It was a really, really poor performance. Bam, interesting game from Bam. Had a really good first half, had some real explosive plays, but also had 7 turnovers, and that was a killer. I mean, really, that was probably his biggest crux today. Had some tough bunnies that he missed. It's so strange with Bam because it feels like, and I love the guy to death. He's my favorite player on the team. Just love the way he carries himself and all that stuff. But the thing with Bam that I will always find interesting with him as a player, and he's only 25, is a guy that still has time to polish stuff up. The best way I can describe him sometimes watching him is it feels like with him, he does the difficult stuff better than the easy stuff, It feels sometimes like the things that look like they should be, I don't want to compare him to Joker because like Joker's Joker, right? But like one of the things that you kind of marvel in the steadiness of is that like, yeah, Joker is never going to miss a mismatch with a guard on him and is never going to miss a layup that close to that. It's just never going to happen. And I think for Bam, that's going to be one of those things where like he just continues to get better because like he'll throw like these spin shots off the glass. Beautiful. Mwah. He'll throw these jump shots that you don't see. He'll, then get ahead of steam and dunk on two guys. But then like, it's like you throw, KCP on him and it's like it's like you kind of short circuit the system there. So that was the frustrating thing from him. And then from Jimmy, I thought Jimmy was good today. I thought that Jimmy had a good game. It just down the stretch, I think that's the thing is that's a killer is like down the stretch, Jimmy finished with 25, 7, and 7. Hell, those are good numbers. Felt like he definitely had his moments. He had a moment there in the first quarter. There's an interesting thing in the first quarter where Spo took him out early because Jimmy usually always plays all the fourth quarter, always plays all the first quarter. And they actually took him out, put Caleb in, and then he comes back a couple minutes later with Zeller and Lowry and kind of went buck wild there at the end. And he actually gave the Heat the lead at the end of the first quarter with a 3 at the buzzer. So we definitely saw signs of Jimmy with a little bit of that burst today and getting into his comfort spots and went to line 9 times today. So, Jimmy played a good game. Everybody else, there were just too many self-inflicted wounds. Talked to Udonis Haslem after the game, which is, hopefully not his last home game. And this is what UD had to say about the situation that they're in.
Usually this team's done the improbable all season. Is that kind of what gives you guys confidence that there is going to become a run?
Are y'all over here because Jimmy and Bam in here? How y'all all get over here? I ain't never seen this many people come to talk to me. No, y'all ain't asked me no birthday questions. Like I said, you look at it and, you see 20 points off turnovers in a possession game. Nobody's scoring 150 here, so every possession matters. They're a very good offensive team. You can't give those up. Gordon was big tonight. Brown was big tonight. But I think we could have sustained it if we just kept our turnovers down. Going into Denver, if there's any team that could go and get one anywhere, anytime, it's us. I believe in my guys. Back against the wall, you're going to get our best version.
So, in a spot now, going to Denver on Monday. Only one team's beating them in the postseason there, and that's Miami. But, look, man, this is a tough one to cough up because this one was there for you. And it felt like you let it go. And again, Bruce Brown, awesome performance. That's really cool story, objectively. I don't want to really celebrate it right now. Saw Jack McClinton after the game right outside the locker room. He was pumped for his guy. But it's a tough ask, man. You're going to a closeout game, and I felt like you had the game today where their two top dogs didn't really have A games. And I haven't even mentioned Aaron Gordon. Aaron Gordon was a monster today. So you got to credit Denver, man. Like they had, in a lot of ways, what the Heat have been doing all postseason, where just never know who's going to step up. Anytime something tough happened, here's the thing that's been interesting. Miami has done a thing this year where whenever they've had that rally, whenever they look like they're going to go pedal to the metal on somebody, when they get up, they take a run and it gets to 5 points and the crowd starts going. I've seen it with Milwaukee. I've seen it with New York, and we saw it in Game 3 with Boston, and in a little bit with Game 6 too, because Miami kind of was about to pull that one out of nowhere too. they've gotten these teams to kind of like wilt and break or make a bad mistake or not execute the right way. Miami was always it felt like throughout this playoff run, Miami was always executing better than their opponent, and they haven't done that with Denver. They have not done that with Denver. Denver, in fact, to their credit, in game 1, got away with it with not executing that well, and their coach said that, Michael Malone, who is very excellent. Game 2, didn't execute, especially on defense. Miami shot the lights out, and they made a big adjustment with they're not going to let Miami shooters burn them. They're not. And they've executed it to a T. They've been able to get Miami a little bit flustered. They get Miami to turn the ball over a lot. And they have not wavered now. So Miami is going to have to come with a huge haymaker out here on the road. It's going to take a lot. It's going to take a lot. It's going to take a lot of guys rallying from low spots right now. It's going to take probably Jimmy and or Bam. One of those guys probably gotta flirt with 40 if you got a prayer, I think. And I think it's a big ask because this looks like this is definitely the most downtrodden I've seen them. Pretty obvious why. This is the worst situation they've been in the playoffs. They've never trailed a series by 2 games. It hasn't happened. They haven't been down 0-2. They haven't been down 3-1. And hell, they haven't been down. They weren't down in a series up until this series. This is the first time they've been down in a series. They were tied once. So they've been in a lot of good spots. They've always been able to get the first step on everybody. And that hasn't been the case this time around. There's a lot of stuff in this game that I want to get to, atmosphere-wise, too. Maybe I'll save it for tomorrow because, I don't know. Felt like I spent too much time on those jackass media members who had stuff to say about the crowd on Twitter. Bro, what's funny, too? It's like, you have all these people, oh, let's talk about the game. Let's talk about the game. We don't talk about the game enough. It's like, oh, let's talk about the Miami crowd. Okay, let's make stuff up on Twitter. Let's make stuff up on Twitter. I don't have a problem with it. If you didn't think it was a great crowd, listen, I didn't have a great time. I can tell you, I'm a guy who's been, waiting for them to be having a game in Miami in the finals for 9 damn years. And, I didn't even have anybody to silently cheer with in my my press box perch. Nobody. Terrible. But, that's on Denver. Denver was a silencer in this game. So they got to get this one, man. It's a really, really tough situation. But if you're crazy and you want to get froggy about things, this has been the year of improbable, right? This damn team that was, as it's been said, 3 minutes away from not even being here. We're playing for ping pong balls. It was a team that slayed a 1 seed that nobody gave them a shot. That's a team that beat the New York Knicks with Jimmy Butler on one leg. It was a team that beat the Boston Celtics, got up 3-0 on them, shook them to their core, had them fighting. This Denver team's good though, dude. I'm not gonna lie. I mean, they got everything. They do. They got size. They got shooting. And this is all, by the way, with Michael Porter playing like a complete head case. It's just been non-existent in this series. So we lick our wounds, 24-hour rule. We get our mind right. I still got to understand why Conor McGregor was there. And I don't know what the hell that he was selling there. I don't understand this. Why? What is he selling? Sports spray? Is that like the Ray Lewis stuff? Like deer antler? It's like no wonder the guy's not in the USADA testing pool. And then also, dude was getting booed. Really loudly booed. It was one of the things everybody is sitting on their hands, and they brought out Conor McGregor. I've never seen anything like this with the Heat. Jason Jackson, radio voice of the Heat, leaves his broadcast booth, comes to center court to interview Conor McGregor about this title spray that he has. In the middle of it, he starts getting booed, and loudly. The fans are not happy. They're down 10 in the NBA Finals in a 2-1 situation. and he's getting booed the holy hell. And then they bring out Bernie, and he lays into Bernie with a monster left hand and then hits him with a follow-up shot on the canvas. And I was like, hey, who thought this was a good idea? I don't understand it. I don't get it. I'm weirded out by it. And it only added insult to injury that was this painful finals loss. Oof.